Is this thing on? Oh, this thing is on. Buying your first excavator. Today we're going to be talking about buying your first excavator and what's a deal and what's not. Coming up. Welcome to Down to Dirt TV, and today is all about buying your first excavator. I'm your host, Rob, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I would love for you guys to be a part of this community, and don't forget to hit that little bell icon so you never miss another video. Now that that's out of the way, let's get down to dirt. So you have your business license, and now it's time to focus on getting some gear. So what's the first thing you do?
Well, of course, what you want to do is buy the biggest, most expensive piece of equipment you could possibly afford.
No.
Why you hit me?
No, the purpose of this channel is to help you make good decisions, and buying new equipment with no experience isn't a good idea. You rent equipment to see what you need before you set out to buy something, to see if you can actually pay for that equipment in the first place. So let's talk about what to look for when you're buying your first piece of equipment and where you can go to get the best bang for your buck. First off, I want to say that all the information that I'm about to give you is a general perspective of my own opinion. This is based on my own experiences and it may differ from yours. Buying new equipment. New excavators can be exciting and advantageous in some respects. Buying new equipment have some benefits that used equipment does not. They're usually brand new, fresh out of the wrapper, and typically come with some sort of a warranty. They don't have any of the hidden issues that used equipment typically does. When you buy a new piece of machinery, you know what you're getting. Brand new equipment is great, but just like buying a new car, has a heavy price tag with it. Buying a new excavator can be a good way to become over leveraged when you're first starting out. So I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you have a substantial amount of capital to start with. I don't recommend buying a new excavator right out the gate for a few reasons. First, you don't know what the winter months are going to be like for your business. If work dries up for 3 or 4 months out of the year, then that can be devastating to you. Secondly, the payments are extremely expensive. A small excavator like a Sandy 35 costs like $45,000 and payments can be like $750 to $900 a month. That's a lot of money. Buying new equipment when you're starting out is like being 18 years old and you get your first real job and then you buy that brand new $45,000 car. Your payments are really high and you don't even know if you're gonna have that same job next year. Buying used equipment. Buying used equipment starting out is probably your best bet. You can get the biggest bang for your buck or get the biggest bang to your bank account. There's some pitfalls we need to discuss when you're traveling down the road of used equipment. But before you do, I need you to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, since that is by far the best way that you can help support this channel. All right, let's just keep going. I want to talk about the side of the road dealerships. You know, the dealerships that have all those equipment along the side of the freeway, but they're not new. They're all used. Some of them are rusted, multicolored, different panels and stuff like that. Those places I wouldn't start out shopping at, and the reason is simple. They typically buy excavators at auctions. They don't know what's really going on with them. They don't go through a rigorous service process. And you could be buying something that has smoking issues, that leaks like a sieve, that has major malfunctions like the idlers going out or you know, all the bushings and the arms are out. See, I've had friends that have purchased those types of machinery when they first started out, and they later regretted it because they bought them for like $25,000, which is a pretty good price. But they bought it for $25,000, but things started happening. It started falling apart. One of my friends, real good friend of mine, one of his boom arm would just do this every time he moved. I mean, he can move just a little bit and it would just go, you know. And when you see that, you know that you're gonna have a pretty expensive repair at some point. When you buy a piece of equipment that's subpar, it costs a lot of money to rehab these things to actually repair them. And you don't want to be in that kind of a predicament when every other job that you're doing, something is breaking. And they get these things, you know, like I said, at auctions. They get them from people who are upgrading. You know, they have tons of hours. I think my buddies had like 7,500 hours on it. And this thing, I don't even remember what it was, but it was just a piece of junk. I would not step foot in that machine. The ROPS, the rollover protective structure, was bent in cattywampus. So somebody actually put this thing on its side and bent the cage on it, okay? Secondly, you couldn't throttle it all the way up because it would overheat. He actually took the time to replace the thermostat, which wasn't the issue. He flushed the entire system, wasn't the issue. Replaced the radiator, wasn't the issue. Thing kept overheating regardless. So he had to actually operate that thing at half mast. And when you're operating a machine at half mast, you're taking away its digging capabilities. I wouldn't recommend going to a place like that to buy a piece of equipment. I mean, if you're really hard pressed and you just need to get out of your job and you really want to start a business, I mean, if that's the only place where you can get a machine, so be it. But I highly recommend staying away from places like this because you're gonna have problems with the machines that you get out there. I went to this place down in Fife. It's like Fife or Pacific or something up here in Washington State. And I looked at a couple pieces of machinery and I noticed that the price that he was selling it for was close to what I could buy a used rental machine for, which is what I'm gonna talk about next. So stick in there, baby birds. It was, I think it had something like 4,500 hours on it. I mean, it was a decent looking machine, but you know, the tracks were rusted. They had metal tracks on a mini excavator, which is kind of weird. I've never seen it except for on that machine. He wanted $29,000 for it, and it had an enclosed cab and all of these good, wonderful features. Even had air conditioning. Didn't work too well, but nonetheless, it still had it. I decided that I was going to take a look at other excavators. My father-in-law actually owns an excavation business as well. So he told me that he had eyes on a piece of equipment that was out at Case. He actually was the equipment procurement guy over at his particular shop. So bought and sold machinery on a continual basis. So he knew what he was looking for and looking at. So he talked to me about it and we were looking at the prices of this thing and it was around $34,500. Had 700 hours, had a long stick boom on it. It had a second counterweight, zero swing, enclosed cab, air conditioning, heating. I mean, this thing it had 700 hours on it, which when you look at the previous machine and look at this one for an extra $4,000 or $5,000, it made it almost like a no-brainer. You know, I can get more work out of it. And since then, I haven't even put as many hours on that machine as the other one that I almost bought, right? I kind of learned a lesson right there that these guys that do these shops or whatever, they kind of take advantage of people's need. And I didn't, you know, I'm just not a fan of that. I'm in business to give people a good product at a decent price and not to rip them off or to give them some used subpar crap and to make good money, right? You know, so I'm not gonna buy from those types of people. So anyway, what we're gonna do though is we're gonna go outside for the first time and you're gonna end up seeing that exact machine that I bought. Oh, and I didn't tell you that this machine came with three buckets. A clean out bucket, a 2-foot dig, and a 1-foot dig. And man, and it had a thumb. So that's another thing about new equipment. New equipment, you don't get a thumb on it. It doesn't come with it. So you have to buy that extra. And depending on the size of the machine and what the manufacturer it is, it could be anywhere between, $3,000 and $10,000 to get a thumb put on the machine so you can pick stuff up. That's expensive. And so, like I said, the warranty may be worth it. I know these Yanny they have like a 5-year warranty, full machine warranty that covers everything about it. I mean, that's a pretty good warranty. I'm getting a little bit off topic with that, but let's go and check out this machine because I can't wait to show you guys. All right, guys, so this is my 2014 Case CX36B, my first piece of equipment. Came with the thumb, love this thumb. Flat bucket, over there I have the 1-foot digging bucket. Enclosed cab, I've never broken the glass on this, okay? I've always kept this thing in really good condition. She's a little dirty right now, you know, it's going into the winter time. Got a whole lot of projects and stuff that this thing's been on and off of, but she's been great. The only thing that I had to do was replace the tracks. When I replaced the tracks, I replaced them with something that was phenomenal. They were 3,000 hour tracks, also recommended to me by my father-in-law. I mean, these things are, I mean, they're gonna outlast the machine at this point. Currently, I think we're just over 2,000 hours on the machine. She's been serviced and maintained. I've never really had a problem with it, but you can get a good machine like this for 30 grand, right? You know, this thing's never been in a wreck. It's never been, it's never hit anything. There's no dents, dings. There's some scratches, of course, because it's a piece of equipment. But the reason why I went with this machine also is because it's just over 8,500 pounds. Actually, it's got the 500-pound extra swing on the back, or the counterweight. That counterweight put it at about 9,000 pounds. But aside from that, I mean, with 3 buckets on the trailer, I am just about sitting at the top of the spectrum when it comes to pulling it with that beautiful truck right there. When you're looking at these machines also, you can't go, oh, I want to buy a dump trailer with a 10,000 pound, 50 mini, because you're going to be overweight. You're not going to be legal to have that in the back of that dump trailer, for one, because dump trailers typically run around 4,000 pounds. You put a 10,500 pound machine behind it. If a cop sees it and they know that these machines aren't, they're 10,500 pounds, they're going to pull you over and you're going to get a big fat ticket because you're overweight on your axles. Your axles are about 7,000 pounds per axle, right? So you got to be careful about that. The only way that you can, successfully get away with having a, like a 50 series mini, we're talking about like, a Case 50, CX50 or something like that, is if you have a flatbed trailer. You can't use a dump trailer for these types of machines because they're too heavy, okay? But when you're first starting out, you're gonna want something that you can pull a machine with, and you're also going to want something that you can dump with. So it's kind of like in my previous videos, I said that that's like the Swiss Army combo, is to have an F350 with a dump trailer and a mini excavator, because then you can do all different types of jobs. You can do landscape jobs, you can do excavation jobs, you can do clearing jobs, you can do all sorts of stuff, right? And minis these days, they're more popular than the big machines. Big machines are for bigger companies, right? And so we're pretty small. I'm not going to say, we're some huge company, but we do have, we use this machine on almost every single job. When we do demo jobs, all we do is we go and rent a machine for that. And the reason why we rent the machine for that is because it keeps our costs down. If you buy a machine, you have to maintenance that machine. It is your responsibility. So just think about this. When I bought this machine, we were in there doing our negotiations, and we noticed that the arm was a little bit sloppy. People were beating it up because it was a rental machine. And that could be a good or a bad thing if you don't know what you're looking for. We checked this thing from top to bottom, and the only thing that we can find is that the arm was a little bit shifty, like it had a little bit of slop in it. So what we had them do is we had them replace all the bushings in all the pivot parts of the arm. And they did that and gave us a 3-month warranty, which is pretty good. That covered me over the entire summer. And what else do they do? The 3 buckets. We taught, we said, hey, we want 3 buckets with it. I need a dig bucket because we do power installs, 1-foot dig bucket. You need a 2-foot dig bucket because you can't dig a lot of dirt with a 1-foot dig bucket, right? And the clean out bucket, the 3-foot clean. And they were happy to oblige because at 700 hours, they've made over $20,000 off of this machine in rental. So for them to sell me this at $34,000, they made all the money that they were ever going to make on this machine with that one sale. So if you get more hours on the machine and they make more money through the rental process, I'm sure you can talk them down and get that cost a little bit cheaper. So if you're going out and buying your first excavator, do not go with brand new equipment unless you know you have a whole bunch of work lined up. And I mean a lot of work lined up, because you're talking $45,000 to $75,000 for your first piece of equipment, plus your truck, plus your trailer. So you got to be really careful as to how far you leverage yourself, because if you go too far into the red, you may not make it back. Okay. So anyway, hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, do all that good fun stuff. I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to do some more work around here after I get done editing this video. So you guys have a safe and wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.